know the Ways of Farmers. We will be there on Friday. Thank you very much for being here now.
Thank you.
I should let you get there now. Oh, we go.
Well,
He rang the bell.
I was hoping
I would have lost that bet.
I was keeping it going until Joe arrived.
Well, you know the caliber of a good comedian. Timing.
I just finished talking with the liquor pigs, and now I'm
sorry for
that. I'm in the process of
Who was
getting
worse,
getting
Dave
over
or Randall? Who's the worst?
Well, viewers will have to watch and see. There's a competition.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but.
And yeah, you arrived just in time to say goodbye to those, and for us to take this very pleasant.
Yeah, because they would have never left.
It's very appropriate that you arrived just after them, because at Palmfest on Friday afternoon, there's like an eleganza sandwich.
Yeah.
If eleganza is the meat in this sandwich, then they're playing just before.
I think it's more of a fish sandwich.
A fish sandwich. And then you were the top of the sandwich.
Yeah.
You were the last in this trifecta.
Yeah.
What kind of bread?
What kind of bread?
What's on the top of the sandwich? If they're the fish.
Yeah. I don't know if it matches, but I'd say we're more like black Russian rye. You know? Okay.
And what's the other slice of bread? What's the liquor pigs?
The liquor pigs? Maybe a Triscuit.
Triscuit fish. And then rye.
It's not a good sandwich, but if you're hungry.
Well, the rye part's pretty good.
Yeah, but for $5 too, you know.
Yeah. And then that's followed by who else is playing on that day? Can you recall?
I think Miss Myra and
that's the first
the Moonshiners open it up.
Yeah.
And
so
then
before you eat your Triscuit.
And then after us, it moves inside.
Yeah.
So,
is it the Toxines and Hastings 3000? I think
Kid Dakota.
Yeah.
And I think there's one more.
There is. The full bill is just here. So looks like flowers to us, but yeah, there we go. And then of course there's the following day as well. We're going to focus on the rye components for the course of this interview, aka Povert Hash.
Right on.
And thank you very much for getting this CD to me. We're going to be playing music from this existing CD, and talking a bit about some of the new music that you've been working on.
Right on.
And one song in particular, the opening lyric to which is, "The first place I land is a Palmer's night."
Well, it's a Palmer's fight.
It's a Palmer's fight.
On a Sunday night.
On a Sunday night, there we go.
Which is the Cadillac versus Cornbread.
Yeah.
When I first came to town, that was the regular Sunday night, was Cadillac and Cornbread.
Cornbread, who is of course
Cornbread Harris.
Yeah, and he's playing on the Saturday at Palmfest.
Yeah.
So
I think he just turned 90 recently.
Yeah. Yeah, he did it. And it's probably too late for the viewers, but he also will played tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I would imagine he's.
Yeah, at what's the festival that you're playing tomorrow?
The Roots Rock and Deep Blues Festival.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that Povert Hash will play this festival. It's out tomorrow, to reiterate.
Right.
So you've missed your chance to see them this year, so you have to come to Palmfest instead. But there are lots of great reports of a previous set of yours.
Yeah.
There, you went there extremely well. Chris Riemenschneider, for example. He had a lot to say, and we'll quote him again later on about the bluesy stomp rockers, Povert Hash. But then also John Bream, you were one of his top 5 live acts of 2011. Yeah. Which was when he first encountered you at that festival.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's the significance of that festival for you?
Well, it's a lot of relationships, a lot of people I know that Chris Mosina and and now all the guys that he's partnered up with, Noble and all that stuff. I'm just have pretty good relationships with all them. So. Are
you on his label?
Well, we were on Chris's label.
Yeah.
Half Door Records. That's how I came to town.
Chris released this record.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I've known Chris for 20 years.
How did you and Chris?
Well, he was living on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, working some job. Mm-hmm. And had a friend from his hometown in Dubuque who was dating a friend of mine, they got introduced, and then he started dating my friend, and then he ended up, we ended up getting to know each other that way. So he lived in Connecticut for a couple of years. And he was just always a huge supporter of the music. And once he ended up in Minneapolis, he just, probably for 10 years, he told me, why you got to come to, Midwest would get you, the East Coast is just not always that kind. And
right. And he was right, it did get you.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I put together Povert Hash, and I told him, we're working on an EP, which, predated that one.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I just started a label out of Palmer's bar, the upstairs.
Yeah, and he was booking at Palmer's.
Yeah, he actually is the catalyst for music at Palmer's.
Mm.
And so he said, I'll make your album, but you guys got to come to Minneapolis. So, and my bass player up until recently was from St. Paul, living in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So we were able to work out. We were here for about 12 days. I think we played 11 sets in 12 days that first trip out.
Is that Jason Murray?
Yep.
So no longer playing?
No, Jason's not playing with us anymore.
Okay.
Eric Hone is playing with us. Jason was the last other original member of Povert Hash from Connecticut. We moved out here.
He already had, so the combination of Chris saying, come to the Twin Cities, I'll put the record out, and then you already having a member with a connection here?
Yeah, that's all, that all worked together too. And then it just became, we started touring. We were touring with another band, St. Bernadette, and who the couple that ran St. Bernadette are the producers on this album.
Wow.
And
good family.
So we were touring with them out of Connecticut through the Sub Rosa party, which was the promotion in Connecticut that Tony Iacobellis, who was the promoter, was so good at putting bands together, and bands that ended up having relationships for years beyond their gigs. And I remember being in New York one night, and I was out with Meredith from St. Bernadette. We ran into another band, but there was like 6 different bands in the room that everybody knew each other through.
Yeah.
Sub Rosa party, through those gigs.
And Meredith does backing vocals. Is that right?
Yep.
On the record, on a lot of it going around, which is and a number of other tracks too.
Yeah.
But that's a closing track, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's a song that right now we're just talking about bringing back into the set.
Will it make it to Palmfest?
Yeah, well, that's right now. That's what we're talking about. Is a lot of it going around to be played at Palmfest. Certainly a song that it's one of my favorites on the record. Of course, I like the prettier ones on there. That one and Rally Cry are my favorite.
Yeah.
Songs on the album, and Drink the Ocean.
Cool. Okay. So we're gonna swim around in ocean metaphor. A few of the songs on the record, and of course, like the new song, which is about Palmers, as we've already established.
Yep, exactly.
So this is one of your 2 favorites.
Yeah.
And you said, of course, you like the gentler ones. Is that the phrase you use?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's stuff that we I don't know allow the band to play live.
But so how is it coming into the set again? Are they saying let's play this or?
Well, Eric Hone joined the band on bass, so his vocal adds a lot to what we're doing, and so we're capable of going back to revisiting some stuff that was a little more like had harmony going on and stuff, and so we just been talking about stuff that we could do, and BZ, the guitar player, Bob Zemlin in the band now, has been talking about that song lately. So I'm like, we should just use that as maybe as an exercise with Eric to work out some harmony, get some idea of how we work together. Yeah. And then from there, we're like, we should probably play this at like Palmfest or something.
Cool.
So that one, and then actually
a reflective moment.
And then probably one of the most popular songs on that album is just a call and response called Sudsy Boy.
Yeah, that is a great one.
Yeah.
It's got an explicit lyrics warning on it.
It does.
On iTunes.
Yeah, and then but then I wrote that it was a description of what the song was, which is on there, but it says it's about a boy who lost everything, including his cat. And but that was written our first trip to Minneapolis.
Really?
We were playing the Deep Blues Fest up at the Caboose.
Yeah.
We just happened to get. We just so happened a one-man band broke his leg, and there was an open slot, and we were loading out of Palmer's to go up to play at Stashu's in Northeast, and got the call from Mozina.
Yeah.
saying if you guys can be at the Caboose in 10 minutes, you guys can have the slot.
In 10 minutes.
And so we were like, we're at Palmer, so we can be there in 3 minutes. So
wow.
so we closed our trailer door and we went up there and we took the stage and yeah, and that was kind of. And then
what's the Sudsy Boy?
Well, Sudsy Boy, what happened is we got a meal a day at the festival. This was the first day of the festival, which was 3 days.
Yep.
And so we got the drink free at the festival every day because you just keep your badge or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So we were going up there every day because we were hungry and wanted to have a drink. And so we were pretty drunk one day and we didn't have a gig and we were walking back in the afternoon and I started singing that. I'm a Sudsy Boy because the drummer's name was Sudsy.
Oh, okay.
So I started singing it because he was probably talking about that he didn't have a job and what is he going to do when he gets home. So I started singing this thing and they started singing it back at me and we sang it from basically about the Caboose into Palmer's out onto the patio, and then there was some cats out there and they heard us singing it and there were like other people would come out and they're like, do that thing again. So.
That thing became this song.
Yeah, and so I said we should really put that on the album. And then when we recorded on this album, it was recorded in 3 different locations.
The album as a whole, and also
no. Well, yeah, I mean the album was completed between Connecticut and
which is where you're from.
Yeah. Between Connecticut and Asheville, North Carolina. We did the basic there with a bunch of musicians out of Asheville.
Yeah.
And then we brought it to Connecticut for our local group of friends. We got together and stacked on top of the recording again, and then we did one more down at the shore in Connecticut at Seaside Park, and had 3 gospel singers.
Oh yeah!
And so they didn't know what the song was till they got there, and it was a Sunday, and they had to be talked into singing those lyrics. So we had to go with the cat story right away,
Oh, he's lost his cat.
Well, yeah, because they were protesting singing that.
And of course, that is what it's about.
Yeah. It was a great cat.
So all of those locations are important, but how nice that you're going to bring it back to Palmer's. Because that is where the song really had its genesis in a way. If people are hearing it saying, repeat that.
Yeah, and we generally, if we're at Palmer's, we very rarely skip playing that song.
Yeah. You were saying that the gentler ones don't normally work their way in.
Well, I came up with this rule. I have a few rules in the band.
Yeah.
One of them is that no songs about your grandma. So we realized that being a Palmer's band, playing on the floor there, that our best chance to keep people in the room was to pin them to the floor and then tell them when they could get up, but never give reason to people to go have a cigarette or leave the room, basically.
Yeah.
So I found that when we did these songs that were largely self-indulgent, that's when people were like, I'm gonna have a cigarette. And then now you're trying to get people back in the room. So I'm like, how do we just let them go have a cigarette after the show? And that was to eliminate all those tender moments,
Yeah, that's interesting though, that like your favorites on the record, and then what you also presumably enjoy performing most end up being very different. Yeah. You use the word tender, and I said that we would quote Chris Riemenschneider again, and something that he said upon listening to the record after that festival was this: that the music of Joe Roberto is making now is rich in gritty character and a surprising amount of tender soul. So, as you've been working on the new songs, with the Palmer's song being like one of those, what do you think of the ratio of like gritty character to tender soul?
I think there's one tender.
There's one
moment
tender.
One
tender moment.
Right, that might happen. As a complete song.
Okay, there's tender moments within Westbank Stagger song.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the Palmer's one. Understandably, I think there's some tender feelings towards Palmer's itself and the community.
Oh yeah.
You said that you've met, referencing the festival that you just played at the Hook and Ladder, and Palmer's, like so many characters that you meet and become important for you. Some of them get referenced in the song, so it's not just Cadillac versus Cornbread.
Right, there's the Big John reference and Seneca.
Tony Paul. So it's Seneca
and Tony Paul, yeah.
Tony Paul, yeah.
Yeah, Tony Paul, the line in there is that Tony Paul stole his own car.
Yeah, and the liquor pigs were telling me about that. Were telling me
about when he stole his own car.
Yes. So, what's your?
Don't they have any of their own stories? I wish those guys are more interesting.
Yeah, they're fish. They're the fish. I suspect that most people who are watching this have been to Palmer's before.
Right.
For the people who yet this coming weekend, when they come to Palmfest to experience Palmer's, can you fill them in on a bit of Palmer's lore via the lyrics to your new single? So Seneca, for example, what's Seneca doing?
Well, Seneca's actually recently left Palmer's, which has been a big hole in the Palmer's family. But she stops in enough to check on the kids, you know.
Yeah,
but she's she's the queen of the Westbank, you know. She's everyone knows Seneca. People come in. I bartend at Palmer's too, and people come in and ask where's Seneca, you know. I'm like, well, she didn't work on Wednesday morning anyway, but.
But people, her presence is so appreciated.
And of course, Big John is, once again got written up in the recent City Pages Minneapolis dive bar.
Dive bar number.
Yeah, so
best dive bar on the West Bank.
Yeah, and just in general, I mean, I don't know. I feel I'm going to write a sitcom, you know, based on Palmer's.
The song is just the start.
It's yeah. I mean, well, at least I already have a theme song, but.
And the reference to Seneca was, "I'll hear your birthday song when Seneca stands up on the bar." There's a lot of standing on the bar at Palmer's.
Yeah, and there certainly was, you know, probably more when Keith Berg, the owner that passed. It was a year ago. This past Labor Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, he was known to allow stuff like that to happen. And but Seneca certainly, and a lot of people when they come in, they're like, "It's my birthday, I'm getting up on the bar tonight." It's like, well, that's I don't do that. Seneca does that, you know. So you can come back and Seneca's here, but but Seneca would bring whoever's birthday it was, so you know, 1 to however many people, and then she would bring up shots, and then she would have. One extra shot, and she would have everybody sing her happy birthday the loudest that they could possibly sing it, and like usually the most horribly they could sing it. So and whoever stuck out the most got the extra shot.
Wow.
And so that was always something that I just thought was a pretty cool thing that she did. You know?
When I was interviewing Giantly Kyle, she was talking about how she would sing. She would be asked to sing at Palmer's, like I think on the bar.
Oh well. Yeah, I've been there with Jay Auntie's just like, "You guys mind if I sing?" And she just stand right up on the bar.
Yeah. So a very, very storied place. So understandable that it gets.
Yeah, I mean, 111 years, and I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the first place I land is a Palmer's fight on a Sunday night, and I really never left. You know.
Okay, so the collection of new songs are all about your move. About having moved to Minneapolis.
Yeah, largely. Some stuff was pre-existing, but had never gone anywhere.
Okay.
And so when I felt like, well, what Povert Hash can do with this song is going to we'll put it automatically into the set that we're playing right now. And then that also fed into what the content of the next release would be. You know?
Right, yeah. And so the song says the first place I land. So is this like when you first arrive in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, our very first date, first thing we did was get to Palmer's because we were playing a tweener set between Cadillac and Cornbread on a Sunday.
Yeah. Wow.
And which I heard Cadillac was not very happy about, but just because it was his night, and I think he was maybe he got muscled a little bit. Whatever. All I know is it's a very memorable time for me, and it's.
Because it was the two of them like versus each other, but then this new thing.
Yeah.
You were the meat in the sandwich. That was this time as opposed to the fish in the sandwich.
It was a pastrami.
Yeah. And so Cadillac was versus Cornbread, and the whiskey was against me, which is like the perfect way to.
Yeah. Well, I was told, don't think the bartenders at Palmer's are being nice to you by giving you a heavy pour of whiskey. They just can't wait to see you turn into an asshole. You know.
It's a test to see it will happen.
Yeah, it's a test, and a lot of people fail that test at Palmer's.
Right.
But a lot of people pass it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've witnessed lots of people passing and people failing to. Yeah. How did this particular song, which is the new single, come to be? So we've already established a good sense of why write a song that's referencing Palmers, but was it collectively as a band the decision to do this, or?
No, I mean all the direction of the band is dictated by me.
By you, yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm the only original member, so I think I have a pretty majority vote.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've just had a really largely, been lucky to find people that want to support my vision and are comfortable with me being the visionary.
Yeah.
And know that I know how to write, and just how to get the most out of everybody in the room. And there's a reason why you're in the room with me, is because I trust your instincts. So I'm never going to tell somebody in the room, unless it's a pre-existing song that they have to learn.
Replicate it.
But as far as writing new material, I always let everybody react to it. I don't want to influence their reaction.
So you come up with a basic song structure.
Yep.
Yeah. And then what happens next? Is it a rehearsal? Everyone's in a room, or do people?
Yeah, usually it's a warm up or whatever, and I'll just be if I got something new I've been working on. As everyone's setting their stuff up, I might just grab the guitar or get on the keyboard, and then just start playing something.
Yeah.
To get a couple levels, and then whoever plugs in first is probably going to start playing along to it.
Yeah. And you're a multi-instrumentalist, so would you shift the instrument that you're playing when you're kind of first?
I generally try to stay on one for the song.
For the song, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do have some where I play rhythm guitar, and then at a point where I'm playing harmonica.
Rally Cry, is that one of the other?
That's
the two that you said was a favorite.
Yeah, I would say that to me, that is the most personal song I've ever written. I mean, it's the most. I've certainly written personal songs before, but the one that I was almost surprised at, what I let out, kind of.
It's about the passing of your brother.
Yeah, I mean that's the line is I lost a brother and gained a catalyst.
Wow.
To spread my mind around the world. I mean, I was married back then, and things split up. I started going on tour, and everything that was happening kind of it came out in that song, and so that's I still sometimes when I put it on, it makes me tear up a little bit. But.
Yeah, the song kind of already speaks to the impact of that experience on your music career then.
Yeah, it just made me say, what am I saving up all my good ideas for? It's time to just stick it everywhere you can stick it, and it just and I just made a conscious decision that everything I do is going to be, I'll live with less money, whatever. I'm just going to be making music because it feels purposeful and certainly gratifying and sometimes obsessive.
Enjoy your life is my rally cry.
Yeah,
it's the refrain.
Yep.
Yeah. So this realization, when we have the gift of life, then enjoy it. Yeah.
I still tell people that. Sometimes people think I'm saying, I'll never see you again, but I tell people enjoy your life, and they're like, what? And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Start right away.
Yeah.
That's again. What are we saving up all our good ideas for?
That's it. Yeah, I saw that on the bio. Okay, the bio ends enjoy your life.
It's never a bad time for a good idea.
Yeah, and enjoy or for enjoyment.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not enjoy whatever one can? If Rally Cry is vocalizing your realization of the significance and the centrality of that philosophy, then other songs, I think, and performances like the ones that you give in a Palmers, capture you in the act of the full enjoyment. So I think of songs like Bloodstained Hands or
It's Good to Be the Freak.
Yeah, Good to Be the Freak. Yeah. So the two opening tracks, for example.
Yep.
To the record, and what's going on with either one of those?
Well, It's Good to Be the Freak is just something that I always felt like you know, sometimes when you're in a small town or whatever, it's easy to stand out when you're, you know, I guess when you just have something different to say or a different way to look or whatever it is. But I always found that was a plus for me. You know?
Right.
And maybe partly it was based on my physicality, but I never had a problem if someone thought that I wasn't like normal or whatever that was. You know,
Who wants to be normal?
Then I feel like I'm on the right road here.
At what stage in the life of Povert Hash did It's Good to Be the Freak come back? That's a favorite song of mine.
Yeah, that was actually it was originally on an album I was working on with my younger brother Chris, who passed. We were doing, we're in the middle of making an album in Connecticut, and that was just part of that collection. And and when we were talking about what songs to do for this, through talking to the producers, they kind of went through my catalog and said like, well, this might be a good flavor, because none of it ever really came out, you know. So it was like, this might be a good flavor. So I started playing it with the band, and things kind of went their own way as far as the band's interpretation. Yeah, I mean, it just, everyone locked right into it, and you know, generally as a rule, I guess I put them out there, and if people react well to them, then I'd say then we should move forward on it. If people are not quite sold or just don't feel quite connected to it, then I'm like, there's plenty of other places where this thing will land. I mean, obviously I write in not straight up the middle. I'm not writing AC/DC songs or anything, you know.
Yeah, then start doing that.
Yeah, but I have a lot of different avenues where music can land for me. So I'm not so like, you know, this has to happen with the band. Because,
like you've got everything from like the piano ballad to this to, you know, it's a very, very broad range.
Yeah,
which is exciting. Did the lyrics ever change then as a song is evolving once you're working on it with the band, or the lyrics like once you've got them?
They'll
stay the same.
If it's something that I recorded before, then it's got lyrics. But if I haven't recorded it yet, there's a good chance there still aren't lyrics for it.
Right.
So I constantly work my phrasing and my melodies for singing
with the other instrumentation.
Yeah, as another instrument, and I guess I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at gibberish or whatever, but ad-libbing and making the other people in the room convinced that I'm actually singing something.
Right.
And then
but it's finding like just obviously the voice. It's audible, so like finding the right thing.
And it's got to be the melodic hook, you know. It's got to be. It's what people will sing along with, or not, you know. So I just usually I'm in the studio doing my vocals when I'm finishing my lyrics. So
there's a interesting affinity and like ethos between that song and Rally Cry, insofar as, you know, the first person's with eyes full of vision, this mouth is ready to roar.
Yeah.
So it's the same. You're the same person. It's definitely.
Oh yeah.
You're the readiness to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you look back at it, and Pat Dalton is playing drums and Povert Hash, and he's like, you know, he was saying how like, because your songs are, a lot of them are really dark and stuff, and I guess I just never really thought about it that way. I'm like, maybe that's how it comes off, or maybe it's exactly what I'm saying. But, you know, you mentioned Bloodstained Hands, which is, you know, a song about confrontation. You know, it's about saying I don't play around. It's serious or it isn't. You know, and it was a warning song. Which right after I wrote the lyrics, I was in the studio and like I went to a party right after that, and some guy found out the true meaning of that song. You know,
right,
by
engaging
me in a slap fight. You know, and I warned him that at some point we're not going to be having fun anymore.
Why did he instigate this?
Oh, it was his birthday. I guess he wanted to be picked up and thrown across his countertop for his birthday.
On the day that you had been working on Bloodstained Hands in the studio.
Yeah, I was like,
not a good series of choices by individual.
I mean, he wasn't in the band, so he didn't know.
He wasn't aware.
But yeah, he found out, you know, on his own.
So, Bloodstained Hands was the soundtrack to that anecdote, appropriately. Mm-hmm. And now we're transitioning into the fourth track on the record is Drink the Ocean. And this is a favourite line.
Yeah.
And this one is, again, of course, mellower. Final quote from Chris Riemenschneider referred to it as a mellower, alcohol-wearied soul epic. And you're on the organ with a gospel-tinged vocal. That's it.
Yeah.
And that is what's happening. Yeah?
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So this is a fan favorite. Is it a favorite?
Yeah.
Of yours?
I mean, yeah, we get asked before the show, you're playing Drink the Ocean, and I've told the band, like, I don't really foresee us playing a show without playing Drink the Ocean.
Good. Okay, so Palmfest, for example,
yeah.
will include this song.
As well, what happened a couple days ago at the Roots Rock.
Yeah, as will tomorrow, last Saturday's show.
Yeah, it'll be there too.
Yeah. I'm under the power of this song too. What's can you explain the power of this song? Why are people?
I think it's just lyrically simple. Mm-hmm. There's just not a lot to it, so it's easy to remember for me too. But
that always helps, isn't it?
It does. It helps a lot. I don't know, and it's just become. Where I'm from, Connecticut is actually Sandy Hook, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And so when the shooting happened at Sandy Hook, and it most certainly did happen. We had a show 2 days prior, or we had a show we had a show the same day at Palmer's, and then 2 days later I was flying home to Connecticut for Christmas, so I was on my way there. So Drink the Ocean is, I don't know, just at that point it felt like I wrote it about that, even though it was post.
So you had the song already.
Yeah.
But
there's just some lyrics in there that are just, I couldn't call my mom, I couldn't ask a favor.
Yeah.
All that stuff, just the desperate cries of things kind of out of your control at that point, But the origin of the song actually came from my old band Gnu Fuzz from rehearsals, where I looked up on my piano one day and there was about 40 empty bourbon bottles up there.
Yeah. And
we got to the point where we would, we wouldn't even be done with practice, but we needed more bourbon, We got really good at it. So I originally just came up with that line to, save my life, I couldn't drink the ocean,
Yeah.
And then I watched this Discovery show about these people on a lifeboat, and that were so thirsty but couldn't drink the ocean because it'll drive you mad and it'll kill you. And and turned out that the captain and the first mate were the first ones to jump out to take a drink, and then they swam out, and it was shark infested waters and all this stuff, but that swam out, and they heard him get eaten by the sharks, but they were like, I left my keys in the car, and they jumped out of the boat like, I gotta go get my keys,
because of drinking the salt water.
Because they drank the salt water. So
that's like important for the meaning of this song as well. So the idea of drinking a lot of liquor, but then also I didn't know how much more needed to be said about how much we drank. Right.
But I really felt like just a few simple lines from that brought the whole song, because the song to me, because of the warble of the Wurlitzer electric piano, is, I don't know, just kind of got that feel about it. It just feels like it's in the water. So the whole ocean vibe came through for me.
To save my life, I couldn't call my mama. To save my life, I couldn't ask a favor. To save my life, I couldn't run away. To save my life, I couldn't drink the ocean. It's the entirety of the chorus. Like in the conversation, like there's been like kind of almost like a focus on how to live, and the rally cry, for example. Deciding to make sure that you enjoy life, and then in this song, Drink the Ocean, like reflecting on relations with others and the absence of calling out to know. So, what's the relationship between all of like the human essence of the songs and the way in which the songs sound? The diverse way in which the songs sound.
Maybe I think I'm a wise old man now.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that you're a wise old man.
I think in generally it's generally for me it's a reminder to myself as much as to anybody else. I have a philosophy on no unsolicited advice, and I don't give it and I don't take it.
Yeah.
And but if someone asks me, then I'm certainly happy to share with them my experience, and and so the lyrics, the songs sort of guide me into, the songs chip away at what generally the title is going to be, and so that becomes a repeated line. So then, when I get to the studio to do the vocals, I'm like, oh, now what does that mean? What does that mean? Now it's time. I have to decide what that means. I might have a few ideas kicking around about it, but.
And then that might have like an impact on like an aspect of the verse that's like still yet to be written. So speaking of titles, a title that could be given to the style of music is carnival blues.
Yeah.
Is that how you described?
Yeah.
The music. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what's the significance of? I wonder if there's a connection between the type of wisdom in the songs has to do with like how to live life and how to relate to others, and then a carnival. Both the word carnival and the word blues seem interesting in that respect. What's carnivalesque about the band, and what's the significance of the carnivalesque component? I'd
just say that it came from people wanting to call us blues or bluesy or
they wanted to call you blues,
right? And because I play harmonica and stuff like that, but I think it just came down to, for me, to not. I didn't feel that was clear enough, descriptive enough, and plus because I generally have a kind of an eclectic writing style, that I felt like some stuff was a House of Horrors and some stuff was the Tilt-A-Whirl and there was Cotton Candy, so I just felt like it kind of represented all the different things that you encounter at a carnival. But it's still the carnival, and so it's still the blues. It's coming from the blues, but it doesn't end up always sounding like the blues necessarily. But you can.
So there's a full cast.
It's in the town of blues. It's just the carnivals here.
Right. Oh, okay. That's a good way to put it. And the House of Horrors reference is particularly.
The what?
That you said sometimes it's a house of horrors.
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 Oh, you're going to the
your previous profession.
Yeah,
exactly. So, what is the? And I know this from the Star Tribune article. You had for how long a period of time did you have what employment?
Yeah, I was called a manager.
Yeah.
Kind of a bouncer, but paperwork. There was paperwork at a whorehouse, but it was managing a whorehouse.
Right. Yeah. And were you a musician then?
Yep.
Yeah. And
so I worked there for about 8 years.
And when in relation to, we had the story with the interaction with Chris and saying come over to Minneapolis.
Right.
Like, where does this fall in relation to any of the rest of like the autobiography that
as far as where did I end, what was going on musically
were you planning on becoming like as much a musician as you are now? Were you planning on having a career?
I mean, I never planned on working at a whorehouse, but
right.
There really aren't too many schools to go to for higher education in that field, but I was working there, but I was playing in bands the whole time, and it was at a time when we had a lineup shake-up in my old band Ganufas, and we got a new rhythm section. And me and the guitar player, Gary Skaladunas, we're an hour and 20 minutes from Manhattan. Why are we not in Manhattan all the time? Why are we playing around the dumpy countryside? We should be getting down to the city. It's just stupid.
Right.
And so some of the other members at that time didn't feel like they could commit to that sort of lifestyle of being in the city all the time, and one was getting married, and anyway, so we got this new rhythm section. They were all into it. Well, from I would say within the first maybe month and a half, 2 months that we were down there, we got noticed by the guy who was booking the shows, this James Kehoe, and he was roommates with a guitar player from Blues Traveler.
Oh wow!
And so he brought him down, and I met him. I didn't know who he was at the time, but he was asking me about music and everything, and I was trying to sell him a T-shirt and a CD, and
you don't know who he is.
Yeah, well, I mean, at that point, I didn't know because I hadn't been introduced to him.
Yeah. So you knew who that person with that name was, but you didn't realize.
I just thought he was a guy hanging out at McGovern's on Spring Street, you know.
Wow.
So we ended up doing a 2-year residency there, but we got asked to go on tour with Blues Traveler.
Wow.
So from there, I left
didn't
working.
know that, but that remains impressive.
But I left working at the whorehouse to start touring.
Yeah. Because that opportunity arose.
Oh yeah, that's exactly why we went to New York.
To go on that. Nice.
Was for opportunities.
And then, so speaking of traveling for opportunity, I know that once you decided to move from Connecticut, one place that you considered was Austin, Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, and you also, I think, considered Asheville. Is that where some of this record was recorded? Yeah. So you had all the reason to consider those places, and you said at the time that the Twin Cities seemed like a better fit. And part of then you elaborated. In those other places, a lot of the people that are there are not of there. They're not from there.
From here or
from in here in the Twin Cities, it is the case. Apart from with me. Right. The accent being a giveaway.
We have mine too.
Yeah, right. So we're two outsiders who appreciate the fact that that people that are from here stay here. So what is it about? So what can you elaborate further on when you were initially having just moved here?
Well, first off, there was a base of people that we knew, so there was a safety net here. Yeah. But it was just more about like we had a guitar player who didn't show up for our last tour when we lived in Connecticut.
Who didn't show up?
Right, didn't show up, didn't call. We just had to go out, and we were touring with St. Bernadette, so we ended up borrowing their guitar player and said, "Can you play on this song?" And then we played the rest as 3-piece, and we had the members of that band help us out because we were touring together. The tour was already booked. Like I said, we were leaving, and the guy just didn't show up.
Yeah.
So we decided to.
Meredith, were they involved? Or
was that
Meredith was Meredith involved in making everything work?
Yeah, I mean we were that the tour. Like I said, the tour was already set, and we just said, it's not too much of a chap in your ass, and we would like to, maybe see if some of the guys in your band would want. And they were like, "Yeah, we'd love to play with you guys." So,
did you ever work out what had happened to the guitarist?
I talked to him well after that.
Yeah.
I just kind of left it where it was.
I understand there being a bit of a rift for a while.
Yeah, but I'm not. I mean, I'm known to hold people responsible, and enough time had passed for me where I just felt like he was doing a lot better at that time. He looked good. He was being productive. So when I went home, I ran into him, and I was just more than happy because he's a very talented person. But I was just very happy to see
him doing better.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. Everybody's been through some rough spots, but you just sometimes you look and go, man, I hope that guy figures out how to get out of that spot.
Yeah, and just good to see that he did.
Yeah, and it seems like he did a lot better since then. But we came here to Minneapolis about a month or so before Christmas. It was like November 6th. We had a gig at Palmer's. We drove straight out, and Bob Zemlin,
the one that's in the song.
Yeah. But Bob Zemlin, who's the guitar player now. Because we didn't have the guitar player, Jason Murray, his old bandmates from a lot of bands in town, said, "Hey, we got a gig. We need you. Here's 15 songs or whatever." Yeah. And Bob just showed up and knew all the songs, and we were like, maybe we're not looking for a guitar player. But Bob had a lot of other commitments in his life at that point, so we just didn't think that was going to be a possibility. So we were supposed to be here for 6 weeks to audition guitar players, and basically I never left. So.
Wow. And no regrets, it seems, about not having left.
No, it's
quite the opposite.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just, sometimes when I'm back in Connecticut, people ask me why or what's going on out here, and I just basically tell them like, I could not be me anymore in Connecticut.
It's good to be
I'm able, but I'm able to just comfortably. I just feel like there's so much artist support in Minneapolis.
There is, yeah.
And I mean, around the state. I mean, it's a state that's kind of in love with itself, but there's a lot of good reasons for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just
a bit of self love is
which good. You know. But to me, that was exactly. I felt like for the first time that you know, to be an artist was to be expected to be one. And where I came from, you to be an artist was to then qualify with what you really do. You know,
right.
like just to do that wasn't enough. Like, oh, we'd all love to be artists. You know, like, yeah, but I am an artist, and I can't stop it. You know, it's not like I choose to doodle. You know?
Right. And then like so you can fully like be yourself. So yeah, so you find this to be a place where you can be the freak, and it does feel good, and you can listen to your rally cry, and people will be responsive, like in terms of like the call and response.
Right.
You know, which is the call and response song?
Sudsy Boy.
Sudsy Boy. Yeah, exactly. Back to Palmers again. So, yes, and the responsiveness. I think that anecdote. You know, imagining like, so on Friday when you perform that song, like we'll all be like doing the call and response. I think there's something kind of representative of like the Westbank for sure, but also like the Twin Cities and Minnesota in that kind of relationship between the artist and the audience, the responsiveness.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, I mean, I'm used to where I come from to have there be an expiration date for, you know, when you can go to clubs anymore. You know, people starting families, and then they want to, you know, you tell them you got a show. We want to come to your show, so okay, here's my show. Well, what time are you playing? I'm like, remember when you used to just go to the bar and left when it closed?
Yes.
Like, well, we have a babysitter. What should we tell the babysitter? And I'm like, I'm not allowed to talk to babysitters. So, it's just not that way here. I mean, we have people that come to see us in their 70s, and people that come that are probably underage.
And babysitters.
Yeah.
But people find a way.
Yeah. But I don't have any kids, so it's just weird for me to talk to a babysitter. You know?
Yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing, please. I'm really excited for the Palmfest show.
Yeah, I am every year. It's a pretty great thing, and you know, all the people down there that make it happen. It's you know, it's sort of a present back to the Palmers Nation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And this time there is a very distinct sandwich, as described at the beginning of the episode.
The worst sandwich ever made.
Yeah. Until you actually taste it.
That's
right.
And
there's been a sample of said sandwich on this Palmer's Back to the City playlist. Insofar as immediately before this interview was Eleganza, and before then was the Liquor Picks. So let's experience it. Much less conversation, much more raucous behavior, much less water, much more liquor.
Yeah, absolutely.
This coming Friday and Saturday. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you
for this interview.
Great experience.
Yeah, and when speaking of responsiveness, you've responded to the Twin Cities with a collection of songs that are very much about your experiences. So please do come back and talk with me about them.
Oh yeah,
when they come out. We're closing with the new single, which is Westbank Stagger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, am I calling it the right?
Westbank Stagger.
Westbank Stagger, and we've been enjoying otherwise songs from the record, which is your old workplace.
No, that's actually that was all part of the theme of that. Was that's where I lived, and which used to be an old whorehouse.
Okay.
And then I worked at a whorehouse. And then the album was supposed to be recorded in New Orleans at an old whorehouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were thinking, you know, what'll get people writing about the record, but.
So the title of the record used to be the name of the building where you were living.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was called My Halls Toot and come in. It was on the water, and there was boats would pull up, and people come up and they'd honk their horn and they'd come on inside. It was a bar and a grocery. You know, it was one of those buildings. But at one point the story is that it was a whorehouse. So.
Yeah. Do you know what the title of the next collection of songs whether it's an EP or an LP or what will be?
After Westbank Stagger?
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard to say. I always thought it was going to be, and That's How We Died. But I thought that was going to be the name of this one. So.
Westbank Stagger, is that just the name of the song, or that's also going to be the name of the?
No, that's going to be the name. Yeah, I have a really great picture of.
Cool.
Featuring Ben Crunk from the Sex Rays.
So wonderful. Yeah, so you start in Connecticut, then you do the Westbank Stagger, and That's How We Die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. So maybe that'll have to be the last album.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to convince the Liquor Pigs to do another album after their album called The Last Album. So.
Oh. Yeah, they're pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
Just like a fish sandwich.
Yeah. Nice. Perfect note to end on. We'll witness them being stubborn. We'll witness everyone being themselves and being allowed to be their artistic selves at Palmfest at the weekend. Thanks again very much for joining me. This has been Back to the City. We'll see everybody on Friday.
Right now.
Thanks.